Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, the High Guy Jacobs, and today we're talking the beginner's guide to matchmaking. Have you ever wondered, how do I get a better matchmaking? How do I get a better event? And how do I get a better experience out of this game? Well, you're not alone. There are a lot of players who would like to know the secret to getting good matchmaking, and I'm here to tell those to you right here, right now. You ready for this? Before I do, you need to like the video, subscribe to the channel, fill out the notification bell, share this with your friends, and do me a favor and pick a video to comment on. There's a giveaway video that we're doing. We're doing a giveaway for a District Showdown. If you'd like your chance at a District Showdown seat, go find that video and get your ID number in the comment section. But do these 5 things that cost nothing, but absolutely help out immensely. Okay, they're totally free, but they help out immensely. And with that, let's hop back in. You ready for the big secret? There isn't one. IGG matchmaking is kind of atrocious, and this is all kind of a well-known problem. However, that doesn't mean there's nothing you can't do. First thing you can do is understand how the matchmaking works. Okay? There's 2 stages. You've got registration, which determines what bracket you're in, Fearless, Apex, or Elite. And then you have matchmaking, which determines who you fight within that bracket. And each situation is going to take a different metric when determining where you fight. For example, in Island Raid, they've just recently changed matchmaking so that we now have a battle rating that is not directly attributed to our might. It is our might plus an adjustment based on kills. Okay? And this is what's being used to determine our ranking, not our rating. Be careful. We, GROP, registered Island Raid in 701 ranking. That was our ranking. Our rating is typically much higher. In Archipelago, for example, our rating was 12.5 billion, even though our ranking is only 4.8 billion. Okay? Now, this matters more in Archipelago Raid, which we'll talk about. But in Island Raid, you need to understand how it works very, very simply. The game is going to take a picture during registration period, during the registration day, at what your ranking is. And that ranking is your might plus your recent kill history. Okay? So the more that you kill, the higher your buff is. Right? So mine, for example, I'm 264, but if I look at my ranking, it's 299 million. Because I do a decent amount of killing. Okay? However, that's all manipulatable. We can, in fact, manipulate our ranking and rating, to give us the best opportunities possible. Because you have to remember, all the teams are doing this. All the teams are, like all the main teams are thinking about how do they get the best matchmaking. And the best chance at matchmaking is by basically stripping down as lean as you can get, right? So this includes things like tier 6 troops, tier 6 cars versus tier 1 cars, for example. This includes, how many marches and how many lines you have. This includes, how many extra armaments you have. This includes your vehicles, all these types of things that add might. Maintaining a super slim ratio of active fighters to farms and things like that. And lastly, stripping off all excess might during registration period. So I'll give you a prime example. Like I just mentioned, when we registered here for IR, we registered at 4.8 billion. We walk around normally between 8.5 and 10. And our battle rating for Archipelago sits around 12. So knowing these numbers, I can estimate with clear approximation where we're going to either end up in rating or ranking and matchmaking, and give us an idea on the difficulty of the players that we're going to be fighting against. Nothing is 100%. Don't ever think that anything is 100%. These are just the best guesses and the best ways to give yourself the best chance. Okay? So one of the things that you do first and foremost is you only register active players. If I look at GROP, for example, we only have currently about 28 active fighters. The rest, the remaining 22, are registered from our farm category as low as we can literally get them. And some of them are some of these like 1 million accounts here that haven't logged in 3 days. These accounts here are a lot of the ones that we have signed up. 2 million, 2.5 million, 1 million accounts. So this 4.8 billion that we're walking around at is all fighters and all consolidated fighters. All of our fighters, for example, have gotten rid of their tier 6 cars and typically run tier 1 cars, right? Now you're going to ask me, why is that a benefit? Why do you want to do that? Tier 6 cars have a bonus. You're absolutely right. Tier 6 cars are stronger. They hold more. There's a 10% bonus when you carry it back and all this kind of stuff. You're absolutely right. But they're 15 times the might. So if you're not careful, 1 million cars is 15 million might. And if everybody has 1 million cars at 180 players or even 30 players at 15 million might apiece, you start to see how that adds up pretty drastically. And that's just in cars. So slimming down, one big thing. Number two, like slimming down players is a big deal. Number two, slimming down those vehicles or excess weight, anything that you have extra. I also suggest keeping a specific amount of troops. Don't overinflate with troops. The more troops you have, the higher your rating. The higher your rating, the harder your matchmaking. So I would suggest 1.5 million to 2 million of main troops and like 750,000 to 1 million of your secondary and third troops. And then 200,000 cars. That's all you need. Okay? So limiting troops, right? Limiting who's fighting, making sure you have active just fighters. And lastly, during the registration phase, during the registration day, stripping all of your excess might. Now, I walk around at about 260, 270 million might on this account because of troops and things like that. But if I was to go through here, I can knock my vehicle score, which is currently at 11.6 million. I can knock this down to 400,000. So that's knocking out 11.5 million. I could take off all of my armaments on all of my heroes and knock off another 27 to 30 million. Right? So that's like 47 million altogether. I can go through my beasts and my beast chips and knock off another 11 million. Right? So I can personally knock off about 50 million might just by stripping armaments, vehicles, beasts, and chips. Okay? And everybody can do this for free. All it does is it takes a couple minutes. So it's annoying, and I promise you I understand that it's annoying. But you have to understand that everybody is doing this as well. All the good teams are doing this. So if you find yourself up in a matchmaking where you're up against a bunch of whales or you're up against a team you cannot compete with, chances are they're doing these steps. Chances are they're doing these steps. And if you look at their teams, you'll see maybe not a lot of high R1s and R1s, R2s, maybe a couple of R3s, and a lot of consolidation. Okay? So even if you look at our team composition, for example, you'll notice that all of our players are above 200. So 200 million or above is kind of a good speculation. We have a couple that are below, but there's only a handful that are below the 200 million out of our fighters. And yet, when we look at some of these other teams, right, if we look at this map and we look at this team, for example, who is arguably a higher rank than us, right, higher rating than us, higher ranking than us, we look at their team, they also walk around heavier than us, but we look at their team and it's a lot of average players, right? A lot of average players, a lot of average players, a lot of average, and then it drops to a lot of smaller players. So they're not nearly as consolidated. So this becomes the question, like I brought up before, when you're looking at what type of alliance to run, whether you want to be casual or competitive. If you want to be casual, you're going to have 50 to 100 players and they're all going to be mediocre, and that's fine. If you're going to be competitive, you're going to be more consolidated like we are. Either way is fine, but you're not going to be able to get great matchmaking one way or the other. You have to kind of pick and then shoot for what you can expect, right? Does that make sense? So it's a situation that says if you're a family alliance, you're not going to really be there to complain about matchmaking because you understand that you're not going to be good in good matchmaking regardless. If you're doing competitive, you want to kind of stick to a lot of these ideologies to get the best chance that you can to have the best experience that you can. Okay, so again, this means that you're going to be stripping down everything, and this means everybody does this. But here's the good news. You only have to do it 10 minutes before the end of reset on registration day, and you only have to have it done 10 minutes after registration. Like, it literally is a snapshot at reset. right? It's literally a snapshot of your team at reset. So if you strip a minute before reset or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes before reset, you're fine. Because the snapshot at reset is what your ranking is. Okay? And then you put everything back on. It doesn't matter if you inflate your ranking. They're taking the matchmaking off of your snapshot. Does that make sense? So it becomes a whole situation where, yes, it's annoying, and yes, it takes a couple minutes, but I promise you, if you're trying to get the best experience possible, if you want to end up in a situation like we are, where we kind of get to do what we want on the map, or if you want to end up in a situation where the competition is actually pretty good, trust me when I tell you that everybody is doing these things. A lot of the top teams are stripping. A lot of the top teams will strip for the entire registration or entire matchmaking day, because supposedly that helps too. I don't know about that. All I know is that it works based on taking that snapshot at reset. Okay? So, again, very, very simple. How do you deal with, especially Island Raid? You're going to limit the amount of players that you have coming in, making sure that you're only bringing the active players. Okay? Filling it with the lowest possible might farms that you can. Stripping all of your excess troops. Right? Tier 6 cars, preferably, in my opinion, to Tier 1 cars instead. And then stripping down all of your excess stuff. I'm talking vehicles. I'm talking beast chips, beast connections, armaments on your heroes. All of these things can be brought down to their lowest grade or off entirely to limit that battle ranking as much as you can. Okay? For Island Raid specifically. Now, the question is going to be, well, how do I do that for Archipelago Raid? Because Archipelago Raid uses a battle rating system. This is a little bit different. From what I understand, there's not really much way to manipulate your battle rating. That one is a little bit, because that one's a little bit more hidden and it's not as well known. So it's not really as easily to manipulate your battle rating. But the concept is very much the same. Your battle rating, once you know what that battle rating is, you want to be able to basically just keep that in mind. For example, we know that our battle rating will put us at the top of Fearless almost every time. So as long as we understand that we're playing at the top of Fearless, or the top of Elite if we go into Elite, then we can anticipate what kind of competition we'll find at the top of Fearless or at the top of Elite, and we can plan accordingly. Okay? So just understanding what that rating does is a benefit to how matchmaking works. And you can find your rating inside Archipelago. Look inside the map and you'll find your overall team rating, like your overall team rating inside the Legion rating screen. Okay, so you can find it all there. Now, with that all being said, again, the biggest thing to remember is that there are 2 stages to all matchmaking. Okay, and most of it is a day of registration, a day of matchmaking. Some of it is like a day of registration and like a couple hours of matchmaking, but they all follow the same premise. You have a full day of registration, right? Which gives you all the time to take off all your, right, to strip down everything you need. And then a certain period of time to do matchmaking. And this matchmaking is just however long the system needs to be able to pair you with someone within your rating or within your battle rating or ranking or what have you. Okay? So once you have that idea, once you have that kind of ideology and that wrapped up, it becomes a very simple process of just knowing what competition you're coming up against and planning accordingly. But again, it's not that hard. Okay? Strip, strip, strip. Easy peasy. Now, if you have any other questions, feel free to hit up the comment section down below. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. Okay? If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, fill out the notification bell, share this with your friends. Let's get this channel out there. We are on the march to 5,000 subs, and I'm telling you guys, it has been one heck of a journey, but we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for each and every one of you. But I do need you, like I said, like the video, comment, subscribe, fill the notification bell, and share. These are 5 things that do not cost a darn thing except a little bit of time. And if you can do that for me, I promise you, I'll be here until the wheels fall off, okay? So let's get this working together. But with all that being said, love, peace, chicken grease. And until next time, stay lifted.
Started with a spark in the middle of the night. Now the whole crew glowing in a neon light. Different walks of life, but we all found a lane. Roll through the highs, laugh through the pain. No ego in the chat, just respect them vibes. Everybody welcome when the smoke cloud rise. Win or lose, we're still one team, building something bigger than it ever could seem. Hands up if you came for the energy. Stay because the family feels like destiny. No matter where you're from, you're home tonight. One community, one flame, one light. Get lifted higher than the skyline. Good vibes only, every single timeline. Raise your cups, raise your voices, let it fly. With the people keeping hope alive. Get lifted, never coming down. Positive energy shaking up the town. When the high guy calls, everybody rise. We're more than a stream, this is where we thrive. Electric tea on side level. This is where we thrive. Late night sessions, memes on repeat. Every new follower gets love when they speak. We're making memories, one laugh at a time, turning ordinary moments into something divine. Controllers clicking, music in the air. No one standing alone when the squad is here. Dream a little bigger, let your worries fade. This is the home that the community made. Light another dream, let the doubts all fade. Every single moment is a memory made. Side by side until the credits roll. Different hearts but a single soul. Get lifted higher every day, spreading good vibes in our own crazy way. If you're looking for a place where you belong, welcome home, come sing along. Get lifted one more time tonight. Smoke in the air and the future feels bright. This isn't just a